Here to begin today's session is Texas Instruments President of Education Technology, Peter Balyta.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to Chicago. Hey, I'm honored to welcome you to the 29th Annual T-Cubed International Conference. And on behalf of all of us at Texas Instruments and the global T-Cubed community, thank you for traveling from across the country and around the world as we come together to grow, share, and shape the future of STEM education. As some of you may know, I used to be a math teacher. What you may not know is that I used to hate math. Yes, hate math. I let that slip in a meeting at TI just a few weeks ago with several colleagues who I've known for many years, and they gave me a look of shock and disbelief, like, Peter, you're the biggest math nerd I know. But as a kid growing up in Canada, hockey was my passion. And I know what you're thinking, and yes, I was a bit small for the game, but what I lacked in size, I tried to make up for in speed and skill. And then when I wasn't on the ice, I was playing baseball or in karate classes. As long as I was involved in sports, I was happy. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, quite possibly the furthest thing away from my interest was, you guessed it, math. The mere thought of math made me anxious. What was the point of memorizing formulas or multiplication tables anyways? I saw no connection between math, hockey goals, or at-bats, or anything that really mattered. You know the drill. One train leaves Chicago, headed south towards Dallas at speed X. Right? On another separate track, a train leaves Dallas, headed north at speed Y. Who cares? Yeah. Find the zeros of the 15 following trinomials. Who cares? I didn't. And do you really need to do 15 of them? What's the point? It was so boring and felt like a complete waste of time. To me, math was frustrating and painful. I hated it. But a kick to the head in a karate match pretty much changed everything. It left me partially paralyzed for a couple weeks, and it was truly a life-changing experience for me. There went my dreams of becoming the next Wayne Gretzky or Nolan Ryan, and to be honest, I was just hoping that I would one day be able to walk again and return to school. It was pretty scary. I remember staring at the clock in my hospital bed, trying to figure out what time it was. I had spatial and geometric thinking, but I just couldn't process the simple procedure of telling time. It was so frustrating. And as I lay there trying to figure out what time it was, I had one of those aha moments. What if the sports I loved and the math I loathed were one and the same? And the answer was undeniably yes. At that moment, I realized that math is what makes sense of the world and that I needed to fully commit to mathematics as I did to sports. I mean, let's face it, math skills are survival skills. An incomplete understanding of math is an incomplete understanding of the world. It's a view I strongly believe we must instill in our children in a world increasingly hungry for literacy in science, technology, engineering, and math. And we as educators are doing our kids a huge disservice if we don't bring these subjects to life for them. So how do you do that? How do you bring math and science to life for your kids? It's hard. In fact, I'd venture to say teaching is harder today than it's ever been. And knowing your stuff is just the beginning of your job. With all of the political uncertainty, funding issues, STEM standards, Common Core, not Common Core, education today is a sea of change. And that's without taking into consideration all of the distractions that exist for your students today. Don't even get me started on Snapchat. I was tricked into this one. But while it may feel like things are constantly changing, the one thing that doesn't change is what you do. You stand up every day and teach kids mathematics or science or engineering. think about what makes these subjects exciting for you, and then go back to your classroom and spread that excitement with your students. And I know it's easier said than done. I have a daughter who's a senior in high school, and she would much rather watch The Bachelor than finish her IB math homework. I get it. It's frustrating, but I get it. So how do you get students, like my daughter, interested and engaged in math and all of the STEM subjects that are so critical for success in the future that today's students will help shape? I challenge each and every one of you to think about the way you teach. Some of you might be new teachers. Some of you master teachers. And many of you I wish I had for middle school and high school math. And all of you know that feeling when you're trying to solve a really complex math problem and your brain actually starts to hurt. Well, show your kids what it feels like to make their brains hurt. Ask them tough and interesting questions. Try new things. Help your students think differently. Inspire them to see something new. But most importantly, make what they are learning relevant to their world. Do your students also like The Bachelor? Use stats to determine which of the ladies is most likely to land the final rose. Maybe sports is more your thing. Build reasoning skills by visualizing the flight of a field goal, observing relationships between distance, time, and elevation. Our field goal for the win activity, taught by the Baltimore Ravens' John Urschel, scored big with some students struggling with math in Baltimore over the summer. And just talk about math for the win. This is what it looks like. How about a real-life lesson around what your students can do to make our world a better place? Let your students work together to brainstorm systems that can provide and conserve water in Africa. That's exactly what these Dallas area students did using their graphing calculators and the TI Innovator Hub. These are real activities that you can do with your kids that make math fun, relevant, and real. Now, while teaching is harder than ever, I'd like to think it's more rewarding than ever too. And I don't need to stand up here and remind you of how important your job is. You already know that. You're smart, caring, committed folks. I mean, would you be here on the weekend learning how to become an even better teacher if you weren't? I don't think so. I know so. At the end of the day, there are no shortcuts to what you do. Every day is a new challenge, and that's why you're here, to learn new things and learn just the way your students are learning. The T-Cube conference is your time to learn and grow. And if you learn anything while you're here this weekend, I hope it's the realization that a great teacher can change the trajectory of a life. Don't ever think, I'm just a teacher. The decisions you make matter to children. You make decisions that change lives every day, and your impact is felt way beyond the classroom. For the important work you do, this is your weekend to feel special. We at Texas Instruments have done our best to roll out the red carpet for you because I don't think you get that enough. So over the course of this weekend, it's our goal to show you that we appreciate all that you're doing in your classrooms, in your communities, and beyond. Now, on my way to Chicago this week, as I landed at O'Hare Airport, the pilot came over the intercom to thank us for flying. He went into the bit about, I know you have a choice in airlines, and I thank you for choosing American Airlines. And it dawned on me, do we at TI say thank you to you enough? Do we say thank you for choosing us? I know you have a choice when it comes to the technology and resources you trust with your students. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for choosing TI, and thank you for putting your trust in us. We take our role as your partner in the classroom very seriously and have for over 30 years. And I speak for all of us at TI when I say we come to work every day committed to providing you with the best tools and resources to set your students up for success in the classroom today, in college tomorrow, and in exciting careers in the future. And while I've come to terms with the fact that I won't be the next Wayne Gretzky, the great one, or Nolan Ryan, I will always be a math teacher at heart. And in my role at TI, where I get to come to work every day focused on finding new ways to help engage students in STEM subjects, well, that's a Game 7 win of the Stanley Cup in my book. Thank you.